Now, through the miracles of modern technology, zany worldwide banner featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim in an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all. Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show.
All right, it's the after show where we're going to have, well, the regular kind of fun. Well, but you know what? We have Michelle over there, we have Jim over there, and actually, there are not many people who call us regular, or at least they don't call us normal. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, well, actually, since I've started that Raisin Bran regimen, I've been very regular.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't mean that. Oh, never mind. Disregard, everybody.
You know, Michelle, I count on you, and you're letting me down again.
You know.
I'm going to have to send a slapogram over there.
Yeah, we're going to have to start deciding what he can say ahead of time and maybe write out some lines. I'm not sure.
There you go. Script me.
Yeah, it's just
this segment brought to you by Taser.
Speaking of Taser, did you hear about I believe it was an Ohio girl. She's 16 years old. She's got some rare form of leukemia, and she's terminal. And one of her dying wishes was to be able to tase somebody.
Tase somebody. So she tased the police officer.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe we could volunteer you. Like, what?
No, a real man stepped up already.
Never miss a chance to be someone's hero, Jim.
Yep.
So there you go.
I guess a sergeant stepped up and took the zap from her. And
no kidding.
She loved it. Yeah, that's cool.
That's a pretty cool deal. Yeah, he says, okay, I know a guy that's been tased, I think he said somewhere between 15 and 20 times.
Yeah, because the first 13 weren't good?
Yeah, right. He was involved with the development, I think, of the Taser.
Ooh.
I would think.
Oh, yeah. We just call him Lightning McQueen.
It's somebody I don't want a beta test for.
There's some jobs you'll pass on, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Don't need that one.
I don't know. Is it one of those deals that after a while it doesn't seem so bad? I just don't think that would be true. I don't know. Holy cow.
It'd be shocking if that wasn't it. Right? Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Well, I had to give it back.
What are we going to do? All right, enough for you guys. I got to go talk to Jim. He's in Nebraska. Hey, Jim, you were at the SHOT Show?
No, I was not at the SHOT Show. I was listening to you at the SHOT Show, and you were talking to Sig Sauer. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in the conversation, he came up with his target pistols. He was talking about the X5, the X6, and the 320X.
Right.
The X5s are no longer imported. Are they going to import them now? Has anybody said?
I don't know. I know that they are wanting to start making a lot of those guns here. In fact, they were going to make oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it. Was it the P210? That one that's like $2,000 from Europe, but they're going to start making that one here, and then that got pushed back. Here's what we don't know. I guess here's the real wild card of the whole thing, Jim. Since SIG just got the contract for the military for the 320, I don't know what that's going to do for production, or at least adding any guns to the line, because they are going to be so busy. This is a $580 million contract. And that's probably just for the first level. They're going to have to build a new factory to make these pistols. So right now, honestly, I think if we asked them, nobody there would be able to say, we know what's going to happen, because I think they may be in that position kind of like the dog that finally caught the car and going, wow, now what do I do?
Well, I have called SIG, and nobody there knows in customer service knows anything or will tell me anybody to call. And I would like to have one. They are available on Gunbroker, but they are just, the prices are wild for what I want. I mean, we're talking $4,500.
Ooh. And now, here's the question. Would you
wondering
pay
whether
half
to
that?
bite the bullet, or are they going to start importing them again?
I don't know, and my guess is nobody there knows at the moment, because my sense is that they're all kind of going, whoa, we got to, everything is pointed toward getting this 320 contract going.
Right.
But let me ask you a question. What would you pay for a new one, a 226 X5?
3.
You'd pay $3,000 for one.
Yep.
Okay.
If it's
that's not a bad number.
The one I want. I want most of the X5s are 5 inches. Mm-hmm. I want the 4.4 inch with a skeletal trigger and hammer. And that's the one I want. The black and white is what I've seen it in. And that's the one I want.
Pretty gun.
Have you tried contacting people who have them and just offering them $3,000 to see if they'll take it?
Well, I did one. And they said, well, we're going to get more than that out of it on Gunbroker.
Okay, or they may not. But
yeah.
I
contacted the one that is on there now. They don't come up very often. The 4.4-inch barrel does not come up very often.
Here's
and
what
there
I think.
Is one on there right now.
You asked me what you should do. Should you pull the trigger and just get one now? They're rare. They don't come up very often. The market is never wrong. The market has established what the price is. And you can hold on to your price and never get one, or you can pay the price and get one. Either one, there's no right or wrong answer, but it's just a case of if you want it, I think you're going to have to pony up to where the market is.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering if they were going to import them again. I mean, they were importing them up to 2 years ago.
And I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Tell you what I'll do.
You want to call it.
I'm going to try to find out, and in the next week or two, I will come back on and let you know what I find out. So I'll tell you what, if you'll just keep listening to this radio show, we will see if we can get that information. I appreciate that, and good luck with the hunt. Maybe you'll find one. Never know. It's kind of like sometimes you can find somebody that has one and go, yeah, I'll give you $3,000 cash right now. Will you take it? Sometimes it works that way. Michelle, you've seen a lot of guns go over the counter. Sometimes when somebody walks in with the cash, you go, yeah, we got to make payroll this week. Let's do it.
Well, right. And, we've often talked about having a collection. It's only worth as much as somebody wants to pay. And, if you know that you can get 45 and up for them, that's what people are going to stick with.
Certainly.
And they're so limited. Yeah.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Like I said, the market is never wrong. The market will tell you. They say, well, that's just not worth that much. Well, if people are paying that much for it, by definition, it is worth that much.
Right. It's just not worth that much to you yet.
Right. And it never hurts. It never hurts to throw a bid out. All the guy or gal can say is no.
Right.
And you don't know. I mean, he may property taxes are due, or you got in a car wreck and needs fast cash. You don't know. Doesn't hurt to ask.
That's generally better with an individual than with a gun store, though.
True.
Right.
Because the stores know what the value is. And
sure.
Stores generally don't get into that kind of trouble and say, well, I got to make a car payment. The repo man's at the door now.
Right,
Can you bring cash?
Right.
That kind of a deal. Not that that's ever happened to me. I'm just offering that thought. I've read about it, heard about it. Something.
I had a friend.
Just saying.
Hello.
Just saying. That's right. Oh, my goodness. So it's good to be back doing this. SHOT Show was a hoot and a half and got to see a lot of people and all of that. But there are new things coming out. What did Ruger had? Ruger had like 24 new guns. It was crazy. How many guns they released? All across the board.
And
new
they
guns.
actually have them.
I couldn't keep up with all of them. Yes, and they actually have them. That Hudson is fascinating, but not available yet, kind of to your point. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. It's different looking,
It's kind of boxy. I thought it was kind of boxy, but then when I realized where the spring was, it makes total sense.
It's kind of lumpy in the front, if you will. It looks like you have one of those rail-mounted lasers on it, but that's actually where the spring is, which is weird.
Well, you know what? I haven't held one, but that might balance out the ammo in the handle.
Oh, it balances out real well. It shoots really well. The trigger is, and I know, he said, well, it's a little creepy. Well, yeah, compared to a Wilson Combat or a Les Bear or something, but I thought it was a really good trigger when I shot it. So
plus, isn't the recoil different based on the way the slide works? The recoil is more direct.
It feels different, yeah. But I will tell you, when you talk about a gun that feels different, that Ruger American pistol.
Yeah.
Yes, you shot that.
Well, I have shot that, but that's also what Smith & Wesson is going after with that new M&P 2.0. They're all trying to get the recoil, so back on target, the acquisition is much faster. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where the industry is going.
It clearly is. The more you can control it and manage the recoil, the faster you can stay on target and get follow-up shots. And I think this is probably, don't you think, an outgrowth of all the competitive shooters, the three-gun guys and the action pistol people?
Well, I would say so. And part of my problem with some of those pistols is because like you, Tom, I do appreciate a really good trigger. I have a hard time with some of these striker fire guns because it is forever standing on that trigger before it goes off. So to me, this could give you the best of both worlds where, you got this striker fire type of recoil or shooting going on with a competitive trigger. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know what you mean. There's some of these guns that the only way to shoot them well is you have to yank the trigger right before you're ready to shoot.
Highly recommended technique.
So you need to make a pie plate out of your target and put jerking, yanking.
Jerk. Right. Aim high and right if you're a left-handed shooter.
Right.
And drop them right in.
But, some people get very good at that. They're very consistent with snap shooting
really weird.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so what'd you think of our caller whose wife is blind? He taped a laser onto her gun to coach her on where to hold and taught her to shoot that way.
I think it's awesome.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm. We've actually had somebody into our store that we have trained as well that was legally blind, wheelchair, and it is its own. Even a person who is just in a wheelchair has all kinds of situation problems with where to carry, how to carry. They want it on their person. They don't want it in their chair if they're get knocked out of their chair. There's so many things to take into account. So then you add on, she wasn't in a wheelchair, but just blind. And they become so much more aware with all of the other senses that part goes away. They can concentrate, they can hear. And it was fascinating to listen to him talk about that. And the laser, oh my goodness, that's brilliant.
That's brilliant
on his behalf.
It is. Yeah, now the instructor knows exactly where the gun is pointed, and you're going, okay, up, hold right there, right, okay, hold that. That's the feeling that you're looking for. That's where you want to go ahead and just press the trigger right there. And here's the thing, you know what? You don't have to worry. If you're a blind shooter, you're not worried about trying to line up the sights and all of that. All you have to worry is just hold where you are and just press the trigger.
Right. Well, and yeah, it only makes sense, obviously, in the situation where she was at with personal protection. Unfortunately, she has to wait for violent contact to be encountered before she's able to do anything. But they're out there, they're doing it, they're defending themselves, and they have every right to be able to do so. So I'm glad that she learned that she could purchase a firearm even though she was blind. Maybe other people don't realize that.
Yeah. One of the more popular episodes of First Person Defender, it was a year or two ago, we had a fellow who is in a wheelchair. He is a police officer. He's a public affairs officer, public information officer for the Alexandria, Louisiana Police Department, Tommy Carnline. And Tommy did a great job with a scenario where he was not only attacked, but then somebody's trying to attack a woman. He's grabbing this woman and putting her behind him while he's in the wheelchair, maneuvering the thing, pulling his pistol out and shooting this guy. And people are going, wow. And one of our takeaways was, even if you're not in a wheelchair, you can learn something about shooting from a sitting position from somebody who is.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, if people haven't seen that, they can go on our YouTube channel and look up the First Person Offender where we had Tommy in there. And Tommy's great because, in fact, I saw him at the SHOT Show. He actually answers comments on the YouTube channel when people say, well, what about this? And he'll say, well, this is how I do it, and it's what I did. And, so he is a good resource for us. We're actually going to try to get him back on to do another episode with us.
Cool.
Because people want to know about that. And one of the things is, if you're in a wheelchair, you better learn to fight on the ground because that's what somebody's going to do. They're going to tip you over your wheelchair and throw you on the ground.
That's where you're going to be, yeah.
Well, strength is just everything. I mean, core and arm strength is everything to them.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's take a quick break, come back, and we're going to be strong to the core.
Whew. Get on your treadmill, Jim.
Smith & Wesson brings 10 years of development to your holster with the new enhanced M&P M2.0 semi-auto pistol. In 9, 40, and 45 with a crisp and lighter trigger pull, the M2.0 has aggressive texture for a great grip, extended stainless steel chassis for rigidity, and 4 palm swell grip inserts for a perfect fit. The remarkable M&P, even better in version 2.0. See it at smith-wesson.com.
Get the fastest semi-automatic trigger for your AR rifle with Franklin Armory's BFS trigger. The binary firing system offers a 3-position selector for binary, semi, and safe modes. In binary mode, your AR fires 1 round on pull and 1 round on release. Works in any AR, is easy to install, no paperwork needed. 100% U.S. made, patent pending. The BFS trigger from Franklin Armory. At a dealer near you or at franklinarmory.com.
All right, back with you. It's Jim, Michelle, and me, Tom. It is the Gun Talk After Show, done mostly afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Makes
so
sense.
funny how that works.
Funny how that works, yes, because if we did it before, I don't know, it wouldn't work. So what have you guys been shooting? What have you been doing?
Well, I'm about to shoot something. I got a gun the other day. I texted you that got a gun the other day from somebody who passed away, and the family member wanted me to have it. And
you're such a shrewd negotiator, you tried to pay him more than he was asking.
Yeah, I did.
Well, let me tell the story on you, okay? So the guy names a number, and Jim knows it's too low. And because you're not that kind of guy, he said, hey, no, this gun's worth more, and you offered more, and the guy wouldn't take it.
Yeah. And then the cool part was he cited Gun Talk as part of the reason. So I guess I'm going to have to send you a check for $50, Tom, but...
you know what? You don't have to do that. Just send me the gun. It'll be fine.
We'll call it even.
Send him his half.
I'll take that Glock. It's not a problem. I'll go with that.
Nice. I just thought it was cool. He thought that it should go in the hands of somebody who is, pro-gun and works to help people out and get into the sport, etc., and the political side of it. And he wanted me to have it, so I was not going to argue anymore.
Along those lines, I came across this line that I liked, which is, never miss a chance to be someone's hero. Along those lines, you have somebody who's trying to dispose of a gun because somebody died. We all know families where somebody has died, and sometimes it is a widow who doesn't know anything about what to do with these guns. I think it's a place where all of us can do something to help, to say, look, let me go through, if you'd like for me to do it, I can help you dispose of them. I'm not talking about trying to go rip off a widow, okay? I'm talking about helping her establish values, or where can I sell them? Let's go to a legitimate gun store like Michelle's store or someplace. Let's go to Johnny Dury's or someplace. And I will help you, basically trying to protect them from somebody. And people do this all the time. They come in and say, well, I'll get those guns off your hands. All of them together, they're probably worth $1,000.
Right.
And then, and it just
a nice tack there to take too is say I don't want to buy these guns if I'm going to help you appraise them, and I'd rather help you get top dollar, and then that builds the trust thing right off the bat, as opposed to the guys going to lowball me.
But it's something that as gun people we can offer, because they always say, well, I wonder what I could do to help. That's a thing. Did he own any guns? Yes. What are you going to do with them? Do you need any help with that? And they may say, well, I've got somebody in the family. Okay, great, fine, not a problem. But if
because we know nobody in the family has ever taken advantage of anybody on a gun deal either.
Well, there is that. I've sure seen and heard of that. No kidding. Yeah.
Or you call a place like Dury's and set her up at Dury's.
Yep. Dury's. For those who don't know, Johnny Dury's, Dury'sGuns.com. Depending on where you are, if you're not right next to Michelle's store, you could do that. Johnny will buy your guns from you. Dury'sGuns.com. And fair guy, honest guy. And I like the way he says, look, this is the value of this gun. This is what we're going to sell it for. He just tells you straight out. He said, and I will give you 30% less than that right now. Or we'll take it on consignment and we'll do a 20%. And it'll take a while for it to sell. But if you want the money right now, it's 30% under what we think it's going to sell for. If they end up having to sell it for less than what they thought, then
that's on them.
They just take that. Yeah. That's on them. Yeah. But it's a pretty straightforward deal, and you can, you may be able to argue a little bit one way or the other on what you think it's going to sell for, and he'll work with you on that. But people who do this every day, Michelle, you guys know what guns are worth. You know what they'll sell for.
Right. And we have family members come in frequently. When someone has deceased and they start going through these collections, sometimes they don't even know where all of the pieces are. And so, they go through closets and there's stuff there and they're
finding things.
Attics and so honestly, the best thing that we always tell people to do is bring them in if you're able, or, we can make an appointment and come to you. But, we go out there with books and show them legitimately what the prices are. And, Blue Book for people, that's a huge resource, and it keeps people honest. But even when it's family members, most of the time we still put prices on everything so they know. This is going to the son, it's this kind of value. So they try to even things out and make things right. But it can be a complicated matter. And some of these older guns, if you don't have somebody who really knows the value, or unfortunately you have somebody who wants to rip them off
and knows the value well,
it can be easily done.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a scary situation. But, yeah, I think going to a legitimate
it's a time
source.
Of stress and everything else. Yeah, you can help out.
And they need the money.
Let's be proactive on this. How many people know who's going to handle their gun affairs when they go?
Right.
Do you ever think about? I mean, you have a will and stuff, and that's for property.
That's a good point. And list them all. Of course, I've always said, if you want a particular gun to go to someone, go ahead and give it to them now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Enjoy the fact that you gave it to them.
Enjoy that whole thing and tell the stories. But yes, if you have some guns and maybe your husband doesn't know what they are. Maybe your wife doesn't know what they are, what you want done with them, or what the value is of them. What's that old line I like? Says, my greatest fear is that I will die and my wife will sell my guns for what I told her I bought them for.
It's an old guitar joke, too, yeah.
What I paid for them. Yeah, same deal for guitars, whatever, and cars.
But seriously, ahead of time, saying, hey, honey, when I pass, we need a value of these. I would like Michelle's store to value them, or Dury's to value them, or somebody that's reputable ahead of time. So, because otherwise, in the moment, they don't know or care. They just get guns. We want them sold and go. And
some people say, just get them out of the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There have actually been widows who've taken them to the police department and given them to them and let them destroy them all.
Oh. Well, and there could be so much family history with some of these pieces, too. I mean, that's the other thing. We've talked about it so many times. But to write down the history that's with these guns, because, and you've seen it, too, Tom, and talking with people, sometimes the sentimental value is far more than the actual value of the firearm to have. So you got to take that into account. But if somebody's not willing to pay, here we go again, it's only worth what the book says it's worth. So you can't take the sentimental portion into the value of the firearm. But to a family member, oh my gosh, the history on these guns is just incredible. All of them.
Well, toward that end, who knows the history? If the person who owns the guns dies and hasn't recorded the history, and nobody else in the family has the, I didn't know that belonged to Uncle so-and-so who used it in World War II, which blah, blah, blah. So sit down and look, if people say, I just don't have time to write it. You don't have to anymore. You have a phone. It records video. Turn it on. Do a selfie video. I don't care. Just get it somewhere and get it into other people's hands so they know. It's funny. We were just talking about the whole need for having a folder in your house, okay, I'm dead, so now you need to open this folder.
Yeah.
Right.
But you really have to.
Well,
people say, I'll do that when I'm older. Okay, great, except that tomato truck's coming around the corner next week. It's going to take you out.
Right. So, you have no idea.
Truck?
Well, I'll do it posthumously.
What?
I'll do it posthumously.
Oh.
After the fact.
He'll send it in long distance.
Yeah. Hope they got a good internet connection up there.
We're not saying which direction it's coming from, Jim. That's okay. It's a whole different thing.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Appreciate that. You can't count on your friends to abuse you. What good are they?
No doubt. Or you guys even.
We were your friends.
Geez.
We were those two who liked you.
Those two. Yeah. Those two. Yeah. I remember now. It was a funny conversation. I mentioned earlier last night, where my buddy said, after I read that book about terrorists and all, he says, I'm just thinking maybe I don't want to be carrying a single stack. I said, yeah, I know. It's like, I realized that the likelihood of needing this at all is slim. And the likelihood of needing it in a confrontation where you're going to need a lot of shots is slimmer still. But slim or slimmer still does not mean nothing. It doesn't mean it's not a possibility. And I don't know. I kind of end up with the whole, but I know how to do this. I have skills at this. I don't know if there are going to be enough skills, but wouldn't I feel horrible if I decided not to carry or didn't have what I needed and something went wrong and I could have helped and I wasn't able to?
No doubt. I mean, I've left the house in a hurry and run out, and 5 minutes from the house, I'm going, oh, my God, I forgot my gun. First of all, I'm ashamed that I forgot it, and even being willing to admit it to you folks is a big deal, but it's happened. And I'm like, wow, what if something was to happen now? Because I screwed up and was preoccupied, somebody could die. Somebody could get hurt.
Should have woken up 5 minutes earlier.
Yep, you betcha. I should just wake up, period.
Yeah. You shouldn't be walking around your house without wearing a gun.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Well, that's part of it. Like, are you dressed? It's like not having your pants on. It's, the whole giving a speech.
Well, I've come home for that, too.
Thank you. Gosh.
That old restraining order again.
See,
it just keeps rearing its ugly head.
Yeah, they don't pump the gas for you in Ohio. You have to get out of the car and do it, and that's when I realized.
Man, but that's when you get to see everybody's pajama pants, all right?
Yeah, right.
Except Jim's, evidently.
Yeah, except for Jim, which didn't. Okay.
One day.
But no, people think, you're just saying this. No, really, seriously. Mm-hmm. When I put on my pants in the morning, I walk immediately over and I put on my gun and my extra magazine, and I do one practice draw, and I do a press check and make sure that rounds in the chamber, rounds are in the mag, even though I put the gun away last night, and I do that every time when I put on my pants, when I get dressed for the day, I put on a gun. If I'm going to be sitting in the house all day long, I'm wearing a gun. I just am.
You don't know where anything is ever going to happen. So to have to run to the point and hope that you get there to get your firearm to protect you is a worthless plan.
Like old Clinton Smith says, it's a lifestyle situation. This is what you do. You have changed what you do in your life. Commit to it. Otherwise, there'll be that time when you need it and you don't have it. It'd be horrible. Right.
And it is not easy. It's a big commitment. There's a lot of learning.
It is.
A lot of scratches.
We shouldn't minimize it. It's a big deal. It's a big change. It's an imposition. And sometimes it is quite literally a pain.
Right.
Man, this thing hurts. I don't know. That's why I have different guns. No kidding. I have changed guns sometimes when one is bothered in my back and go to a different holster or a different gun or something, and that alleviates it, and wear that for 2 or 3 weeks and go to the chiropractor and get adjusted and say, hey, my gun's bothering me again. He says, yeah, I know. Okay, we'll do this. I like it when you can do that with your chiropractor.
Carry left-handed for a couple of weeks.
Right.
That's right. That's right. No. He says it's pulling to one side. You need to wear 2 guns.
Balance them out. Get a line.
There you go. I'm liking this.
Get a line. Have a matching set.
Hey, I had a question pop up this week I couldn't answer, Tom.
What's
so
that?
I'm going to specifically ask you. How do you know in a 10 millimeter? How do you know which 10s can fire a 40 without damage and which ones can't without calling the manufacturer? Is there a way to inspect it and figure it out, or do you have to call the manufacturer?
Well, no 10s will shoot a 40 without changing the barrel.
Okay.
Because the 10 millimeter case is longer than a 40 millimeter case, and the headspace on the mouth of the case. So
you can't drop a 40 into a 10. Some 10s I thought you could shoot 40s from.
No, you could only if you swap barrels out.
Oh, okay. Well, see that?
So
then I can forward that information. I thought it was a feed ramp issue or something, and
no. It's when the case goes into when the cartridge goes into the barrel, the mouth of the brass case hits a little bitty lip inside the chamber, and that's what keeps it from going any further in. So that's the headspace. Whatever the part is that keeps the cartridge from continuing into the barrel, that's what headspace is on. And with a rifle cartridge, it's the shoulder, generally speaking, the shoulder of the case. But in a rimless straight wall pistol case, it's the mouth of the case. With a rimmed case, like a revolver, the rim is what slides in and it hits the back of the cylinder,
right,
and keeps it from going in. But if you have a 40 and a 10, what you have is a longer case and a shorter case, and clearly that's not going to work. So you just have to swap the barrel out.
Okay, so the barrel has the retainer in there. The stopper.
There you go. Now, you can get it to go in there if you have a large hammer.
Great.
And you pound on the back of the case.
Maybe a scratch-all, too, to pound on the back of the guy, and the primer cap.
Sure.
With the punch.
A little silver thing in the back.
Little punch thing, like this.
Yeah, you should use a punch.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do that, please live stream it. Because you may not be around to actually post it if you just record it.
So it's not necessarily a tomato truck.
Right, it could be anything.
It could be just Jim being Jim.
Yeah. How'd I get this far?
What's this thing do?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to knock off so we can all go watch that Stanley Cup. That's the only way we're going to get Jim interested in this.
It's the Stanley Cup of football, yeah.
That's right. Oh, by the way, did you guys have you checked out our Lego movie?
No.
I'm serious. No. Okay. Go on to our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. You can, the new Batman Lego movie's coming out this week.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we're nuts that we shoot anything. So we built a ballistic block of Legos.
Oh, my.
And then what are you going to shoot it with? Well, why not a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum?
Why not?
Why not, indeed? So,
oh my God!
If you go to the Gun Talk channel on YouTube, you can see us shooting a ballistic block of Legos with a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum in slow motion. Oh. And it was so cool. The light was just right. We actually could see the bullet in the air, and we did a freeze frame of several frames and see this big honking bullet flying through the air and hitting the Legos.
Wow. Cool.
If only you had more time on your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
if only we could do something fun, I hate my job. No one would want this job.
Yeah, no one.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. I don't know.
Yes,
that or Taser.
Gee whiz.
Tough call.
That's how do you think we get up in the morning every day? Just do a little self-taser. Oh, I'm ready to go. Okay, good deal.
No wonder I forgot my gun.
Rig up. Oh, new product, alarm clock taser.
Ooh. You go first.
We'll shock the daylights out of you.
No.
Ronco.
You get up at lightning speeds.
Okay. This is going badly.
Yeah,
We're
we
going
should
south
go.
in a hurry.
I'm going to go watch hockey with...
Goodbye, y'all.
I'm going to go watch hockey with a pigskin.
With a pigskin. All right. Check out the YouTube channel for Legos. You guys be safe.
All right.
See ya.
Bye now.
Tell your friends about the Gun Talk After Show, a more informal setting featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim commenting on topics that are important to you. Available on iTunes and other podcatchers, and the Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android.